Well, good morning, everybody. I'm off to work, and I'm going to get a little upgrade done on the car today. It's going to be an interesting upgrade. I've seen a lot of people complaining. You got this cool-looking car. It kicks ass. It's awesome. And then you got that dinky Japanese horn. It sucks ass. Well, we're going to do something about that, hopefully today. I haven't decided. I haven't found out whether my guy will do it or not. I guess we'll find out. I bought myself a horn. An Italian horn, no less. The funny thing is, it just slips my mind, the name of it. So I will, of course, put it in the rest of the video, what its name is. It's a nice Italian horn. Supposedly it's 130 or 150 decibels. I really don't care. It's not the decibels that I'm interested in. My main interest is in the tone. Gives off a wonderful tone. That Italian sports car tone, which I absolutely love. I don't think my camera's holding on very well here. Well, hopefully it is. If it falls down, that'll be the end of this video. But this beautiful tone I first heard a long time ago in The Spy Who Loved Me on the Lotus Turbo Esprit. And then my aunt bought herself a Maserati bi-turbo in the 80s, and it had that horn. It was a great tone. It's essentially a dual air horn, but it's all compact, small compressor with two small horns connected to it. Small, so it'll fit pretty easily into the system, and it should be pretty easy to hook up. I mean, there really isn't much to hooking up a horn, especially if it's not, it also has a relay, so that's going to take a little extra, but there really isn't much involved in that, probably because it draws more power. I don't know. I don't understand how relays and stuff work. That's electrical shit. That's way beyond Vertier's brain power. Just about everything's beyond vertebrae. Oh my God, dudes! I don't do well early in the morning, and to me, it's 10:40. That's early in the morning for me. I'm usually getting up at 2 in the afternoon. I prefer to work in the afternoons, but Sundays I got to work early, and since I live an hour away, I got to take care of that. The horn is the Tornado TR2 by Marco. It's a Marco Tornado TR2. I'm going to show you the box and everything before we install it. I'll let you hear what the horn sounds like in the car, and let you hear what afterwards. And maybe my friend, if he's able to, will film a little bit of the install so you can get a look at it as it goes in. I'm not going to take the original horn out, but I am going to disconnect it. Obviously, I don't want it ruining the tone. I'm excited. Although I almost never use the horn. I mean, I'm generally pretty, as pissy as I come off and as angry as I come off, I'm generally pretty calm with my horn. People don't understand when you don't have a face-to-face look on people. Horns can mean anywhere from a, hey guy, be careful, to a, fuck you asshole, I'm going to ream you with this big-ass club up your butthole. And you lead into a bunch of fights, and this is a conceal and carry state. I don't conceal and carry at this point. I do own a gun, but I don't conceal and carry. Eventually, I might do that. It's getting pretty bad out there in this world. You piss off the wrong kind of person who happens to be having a bad day and can't handle themselves, then you're likely to get shot over a stupid toot of the horn. So I use my horn very rarely. Mostly people who aren't paying attention and the lights change, and I've counted to at least 10 before they've even noticed. Then I'll give a toot on the horn. So I'm going to pause this video or stop it at this point, and then we're going to connect it when I show you the horn itself, what it looks like, and a few other things, and then we'll make this video. Stupid video, but still kind of fun. People have been talking about getting a new horn, so we'll see what happens. Vertier, out for now. Okay, there it is. It's the Tornado, Marco Tornado. I believe the model is, it's the TR2. Cost me about $46. So we're going to take it out of the package, give you an idea what it looks like. Sorry, this is going to be a crappy video in this aspect. Alright. You know what? Let's pause it here. Okay, we're back. This is basically what it looks like. It's not giant or huge. It's much bigger than the regular horn, but it's all in a single unit with the little compressor, horns right down there, dual horns to give you that dual horn toot. And of course it comes with a Oh my God. You know, whatever you guys do, don't take antidepressants for long periods of time in your life, because this is what it'll do. It'll destroy your brain and make it impossible for you to remember things. It's a freaking relay. Thank you, Verdier. Opened your freaking eyes. And of course, it comes with a mounting bolt. No big deal. Not much to it, but you know, it's going to be a little big, but we can hide it somewhere inside the, under the hood somewhere. And it should be pretty cool. So that's what it looks like before it goes in. So hopefully get it in today. Here you see we pulled the main shroud off. There were a lot of clips involved in there. I'm sorry I didn't get that on video. I was being stupid. You have some bolts there to take more stuff off. That entire part, top part of the nose is going to come off when you do all of this. So as you can see, my friend apparently doesn't know how to use his wrench correctly. He kept going back and forth. There we go. There's another one. He tried the metric system first. And then he tried imperial. They said, dude, it's a Japanese car. It's going to be metric. It's built in America, but it's metric. He just kind of doofused out there for a moment. Just so you know, those bolts, in the end, are 10 millimeter. So they come right off. Not a real big deal. But they're various pieces. They go across. I think there are like 6 or 7 bolts involved in the entire thing. Maybe 8 bolts. I can't really remember. Very simple operation to take these things off. As you can see, all of them are off there. He's taking the last one off, and that pretty much loosens that front part off. That's not going to come out. That's pretty much just going to make it movable so you can get to the horn, which is behind it. But, even though we take all of that off, it's still not everything. You still end up having to take the nose off. You can see here we took the end part across on each side. Took all that. Those are basically, I think those were clips on that. And the whole nose, well, basically, there was a bolt right there, but there was also a couple of clips. And the whole top of the nose will pop right off. Very easy. Obviously, put it in a safe place so it doesn't get all scratched and so forth. But basically, pretty easy to deal with and pretty easy to take off. Not really all that hard. What am I looking at here? Yeah. Okay, now we're just looking inside to show where the original horn is. There's 2 bolts to take the horn off. Now, there's also, obviously, a power plug going into the horn itself. But basically, it's just 2 bolts, and it has its own hanger to hook it on. And I believe that's also a 10 millimeter. I wasn't sure. I didn't check. Reminded him of the plug, so he had to take the plug off. But there's that little meat horn. Boy, what a pathetic little horn. Just take a little pick tool to pop it off. It's a very simple plug, 2-wire plug. Simplicity itself. That's a nice thing about the Honda. Very fancy schmancy hybrid system, but the plug and the parts are basically clips and hookups. It's really very simple to deal with. It's not all that hard to take off, even though I'm not the one doing it. Here we go. We got the Marco. There's the Marco horn right there. I've got it hooked to it uses a single bolt. Very strange kind of setup. You might have to use a different bolt to get it tight enough on there. But use a single bolt to hook on. And we hooked it on to the original bracket that the horn came on. I'm not 100% sure this was the best choice. That's the original horn, that little piece of crap. And there's the big old Marco. I'm not sure if putting it behind like that in front of the... behind the grill like that's going to be the best idea. I don't know how waterproof it is and how well it'll handle. I figure it'll handle pretty well. But just in case, if you decide to put it somewhere inside the car, if you find another place, that'll do. But it's not a real big deal. But here, in this case, I didn't have to build a particular mount. We were able to mount it on it. It has a weird half-moon mount hole on it, which is very strange. But we got it really tight. We shook the heck out of it, and it should hold no problem. Besides, I'm not taking Ruby off-road anyway. That is the plug. I believe left side is positive, right side is negative. Happily, yep, positive and negative with the flat side on top. Positive is pink in this case, negative is happily black. They didn't use a different color like some doofuses sometimes do. But we're going to tap directly into that plug using the military splice and tape method. Basically, I showed that in the audio hookup stuff, how we were doing that. Basically, you just open up the insulation a little, use a pick to make a hole in the wire, stick a wire through, wrap it around, and then tape it up, and boom, there you got power without actually cutting the whole tip off. I mean, the last thing in the world we want to do is lose that tip. That way we can take the Marco out at any time we want to and put the original horn back in. We're really not looking to do permanent. Now here, he soldered the tips on there. We used pink and black so we could match the colors of the wires, and so forth. Just a, a good connection. A little open to the elements and so forth. I wish I had some rubberizer to put on it, but I really didn't have any rubberizing stuff to put on it. We did find a different way to seal it up a little bit better. So you can see here, he used a lot of tape and so forth, and then some tubing, and that way it's nice and cleared up. It looks good, and I think it'll hold up pretty well for a long time. All right, here's the interesting part. Now, it does come with a relay, if you want to use the relay. We looked through a lot of information on this car. We could not find that the horn went through any kind of relay at all. We had a lot of relay information, but no relay for the horn. Now, the horn runs on a 10-amp fuse. The Marco horn requires 20 amps total. Some say 30, but it says 20 on the box. So what we did is we changed the fuse to a 20-amp fuse, and we checked to make sure the wiring is 18 gauge. So as long as it's 18 gauge, you should be fine for power. The biggest worry you have to worry about is any burning of the wires and so forth if you're going direct. But I don't think a direct's going to be any problem with this. I think it's very easy to get it running. I did do a test. I held the horn for a good 10-15 seconds blast. We smelled around. There was no smoke, no smell, no burning, nothing. Everything is fine. So I think the relay is not completely necessary. If you feel more comfortable doing the relay, that's all on your own. You can look it up on how to do it. I think it just adds more complexity, and I don't think it's really necessary. Just make sure you do change your fuse to at least a 20-amp fuse. Otherwise, more than likely, it'll pop fuses automatically every time you press. But I held a good long press. Now, let's keep in mind, most people don't hold their horns for too long. So, oh yeah, here, just showing you what it looks like when the line was spliced in. Showing you how it's all spliced in there, and so forth. So, you don't usually hold the horn for 40 seconds at a time, so I'm not really all that worried. So, here we are, we're going to stick the horn, a little pushing in there, but we got it in there. It fits in pretty well. We had to, you have to retighten the connections and so forth. Put the bolts back on. I think it's going to hold very well, and it fits very nicely. I don't think it's going to be a big problem. It doesn't block enough of the radiator to cause any problems. I mean, if it caused problems with the radiator, then it's a pretty pathetic radiator. But that's it. That's pretty much the install for the entire thing. Putting the car back together is basically a couple of bolts and a bunch of clips. Alright guys, end of the evening. Ruby is out. It occurred to me that I didn't record the sound of the horn before we changed it. That's pretty freaking stupid. But I think you all know what a Honda horn sounds like. It sounds like all the rest of the Japanese horns. That little noise, it is awful. It is stupid. It is ridiculous. I'm going to have someone honk the horn for me, and so you can hear what the new one holds. So I'm going to have to pause it because he's inside, and this is what a real horn's going to sound like. Hang tight, guys. Okay, guys, I've got someone in there, and now we're going to hear what the new horn sounds like. Kick it. Whoa! Well, that's it. That's Ruby. She's got a real voice now. She's classy. Not that little meat bullshit that it was doing before. So this is Verdier over and out, and you guys take care, and I hope you enjoyed the video.